Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. John has been a huge support to our channel. And I'm conscious that I often say a similar thing, and I don't want it to just become a tagline. So what I've done is I've put a little vid together so that you all know a little bit more about Action Coach.
So when John came as a coach, the first thing we did is talked about setting a daily plan, monthly plan, quarterly plan, and automatically that helped us manage our time a lot better.
I'd heard about coaching before, but I also, it's not for me. And after listening to his webinar, we had a 45-minute chat. No look back since.
To have John as our coach has been one of the best decisions we've made as a business.
Thank you to John and everybody at Action Coach for their continued support of the channel. It's absolutely fantastic what they do for us. We're also sponsored. This is the warm-up. We're also sponsored by Triple Point Brewery. So thank you to Triple Point for their continued support also. How are we doing? How are we all? It's been a horrendous 48 hours in the Sheffield United community after losing Johnny Gascoigne. Still very raw for a lot of us. And the thing is, the beautiful thing about football is not only does it bring people together, not from different walks of life. I don't know if I'd ever have spoken to Johnny if we weren't Blades or anything like that. But not only that, but it's escapism for a lot of people. And if you're not in it, if you're not into it like we are, you're not going to understand it. But football and Sheffield United for us is that escapism. So I hope that you're all right and we can now sort of move our focus, take our mind off everything else that's been happening, unfortunately, and just try and look forward to the game and hope that, you know, United continue their winning ways. And because it's amazing how certainly it's very difficult to talk about, but your mental health lines up with how well your football club's doing at times, depending on how deep you are into it. So I think a Sheffield United performance this weekend, God willing, and I know the players will do everything they can to get one, would really help a lot of people. So yeah, it's a tricky one to talk about today. We're anticipating the visit of Derby County, a newly promoted side to the Championship. So for everybody that did the league table predictions before window had even closed and all this sort of stuff, we'll have had Derby more or less rock bottom, if not in the bottom three. Both them and Oxford have started to defy some of those naysayers, if you like. They've won 3 of their 5 games in the Championship of Derby, as have Oxford. So these will not be easy. The only thing I'd say is the games that they've won have been at Derby. They've been at home. So they've beaten some impressive sides. I was just having a look before I came on. They've beaten Borough, Bristol City and Cardiff at home. But they've lost away at Blackburn, who are second in the league now. And Watford, who obviously were doing really well until Sheffield United entertained them at Bramall Lane. So yeah, not the, you know, the expected 3 points. You'd expect that United will go into the game as favourites, as we should. But what can we expect from Derby? I'm not entirely sure. So with that in mind, we asked Jake from the Rams Talk podcast. So let's see what Jake had to say.
Hello, I'm Jake from Rams Talk podcast, and this is our Ramble Rundown. I'd say, honestly, very good. We've signed some really good players. I mean, Jakob Vidal-Zetterstrom, who we signed for Djurgårdens, looks excellent in goal. We've signed Kenzo Haldmine from AZ. We signed Ibu Adams from Cardiff. They've all been excellent. We've not spent a lot. In fact, we've spent less than about 3 million overall, but we've brought in a lot of players, and a lot of players that are sort of either experienced at this level or have played at a high level. So from our perspective, it's been really, really positive, and we're very hopeful that they can continue to deliver like they have so far. That's a difficult one. I mean, I'm recording this after the Bristol City game where Derby won 3-0 very comfortably and absolutely battered them. And we showed something different to what we showed for the majority of Paul Warne's spell. And that's when we went a goal up, we carried on and we kept going. And I think there's a lot of fans that don't like the fact that we tend to score a goal, sit back, try and absorb pressure. And overall, we play quite a negative style of play. But I have a feeling people will change their mind if we keep playing like we did against Bristol City. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd say the fan base is probably split in two, which is really strange when he got 92 points for us last season. But I think it'll be 10 games into the season where fans will probably give their full assessment on Paul Warne. We've lined up in either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 for the majority of this season. We tend to play obviously more defensive away from home, as everyone does, and for that reason we may even slip into a back three. Nat Phillips, who we signed on deadline day, will probably end up playing in the middle if we do that as well. So I think it all depends. Derby tend to play, as I said before, quite negatively at times, especially against teams that are, I'd probably say, superior on the pitch. I mean, you look at some of the players Sheffield United have, and Derby haven't got many that can match that like for like. So I have a feeling we'll probably end up going more defensive. So it'll either be that 3-5-2 that we had so much success with last year, or we'll stick with the 4-3-3 that's worked okay so far. On paper, it's got to be Nathaniel Mendes-Lang. 16 assists last season, I think 9 goals as well. And he's looked sharp since coming in this season as well. Caden Jackson scored 3 goals so far. He's looked good as well. Kenzo Houdmind's a threat, maybe not a direct goal scoring threat, but he'll create chances from the centre of midfield. David Ozo as well. He can just carry a ball so well. He scored against Bristol City towards the end. He's very dangerous when he runs with the ball. And yeah, we've got a few players that can cause problems. It all depends how we shape up. If we shape up negatively, probably none of those will even touch the ball. But if we go for it and we're positive, then there's a real chance that someone like Mendes-Lang could get a goal. If I was going to pick out anywhere, I think, in the centre of midfield, there's a little bit of naivety there. Kenzo Houdmind's only 22. David Ozo, who's been sort of the anchor in that midfield, is only 18 or 19. So we've got a lot of young lads in this team, and I think that's sort of like that holding midfield position. As good as he is on the ball, Ozo tends to leave gaps off the ball, and teams have exploited that. We've conceded a couple of goals already this season where he's just not been fully alive to the situation in defensive areas. So I think if there was any weakness, it'd be there. Only other place I can really think is down our left-hand side. Callum Elder has had a good season so far, but last season he wasn't consistent at all, and this season he started off pretty terribly against Blackburn. He's worked his way back up, and if he plays like he did against Blackburn, he'll be a player that I think you guys will target. But I think apart from that, we're looking pretty solid. I think defensively is probably our strongest bit, but then again we do play a back 8, so majority of the time we are going to be solid defensively. If there's going to be any weak links, it's the fact that we don't tend to score too many goals on the road. If Derby score early, they'll sit in and defend. If Sheffield United score early, Derby will probably come out a little bit more. Derby are a massive confidence team. If we can get a little bit of confidence, bit of belief, and get the fans behind the team tend to perform. And they've shown that not just this season, but last season too. So I have a feeling you'll probably dominate the ball. I mean, you've got a lot of players that you've signed for a lot of money that have played in the Premier League and have that experience. So you're going to have that edge. You're going to have that quality on us. I don't think we're a fantastic ball playing side. I mean, the majority of our midfield players, I mean, Houdmind's the exception because he's brilliant on the ball, but the majority of our midfielders and defenders aren't fantastic on the ball at all. So it's going to be more of a physical game. I think there's going to be a lot of balls into the box. We're going to be defending our box a lot and hoping to catch you on the counter-attack. We've got Mendes-Lang, we've got Caden Jackson, we've got Jerry Gates, all 3 of which are very, very quick. So we've got players that can make that difference on the break, and I think it'll be similar to our game against Watford. We scored very, very early on, obviously unfortunate to lose in that one, but we just kept hitting them on the break, and that was our main danger, was because we have so much pace. Watford couldn't handle it, so I hope you've got quick defenders, otherwise it might be a long day for them overall. Callum O'Hare was excellent in the Championship last few seasons. You got Gustavo Harmer as well, who even cut it in the Premier League, cost a lot of money. And yeah, you've got a lot of talent. I mean, Kiefer Moore as well. He always tends to take the Championship by storm when he plays here. You've got a lot of talented players. I think your biggest strength is going to be the fact that you've got that quality on the ball and that magic to unlock defences. We had an excellent defence in League One. There's games in this division where we've struggled a little bit more. Even though our defence is solid most of the time, we're prone to that occasional error, as every team are that have come up, and you've got the quality to exploit that. Weaknesses wise, you don't seem to be a huge side, and I think we're very dangerous from set pieces. We tend to score a lot of set piece goals, and I think that'll continue if we can get Nat Phillips, if Sonny Bradley ends up playing. We've got some big players in this team that tend to get on the end of chances when we get them into the box. We will load that box and we will attack it. So if there's going to be any area where we can exploit you and any weaknesses you have, I think it'll be from set pieces. I always give a head and a heart answer for these, because I think with my head, I think you'll comfortably beat us. You've got that Premier League quality, you've got the players that can unlock this Derby defence, and for that reason, I think you'll beat us 3-1. I think we will get a goal. I think you'll just have that quality that'll overwhelm us. The only way I can see us getting a result is if your forward line have a bit of an off day, because we are dangerous on the counter, we are dangerous from set pieces, but overall you should probably have us. Heart-wise, I'm hoping for a draw. We can get a result. We've got enough about us to get a result. It's just about actually getting it and stopping you guys from playing. So yeah, I've been Jake from Ramstalk Podcast. Find us on Twitter at Ramstalk Pod, on YouTube, Ramstalk Podcast. It's pretty easy to find pretty much everywhere, to be honest. But if you want to go join the conversation, let us know your thoughts after the game as well. It'd be very much appreciated. Always good to see both sides. Now, I think despite your points deduction, I know it wasn't a huge one, but despite your points deduction, I think you'll probably end up in the playoffs at a minimum, to be honest. I think, like I said, you have got a quality side. If you can shake off that sort of mentality, when you come down, you've got to get that confidence back, that belief back. I think you'll get it. And if you can fully shake that off and get some wins and get yourselves towards the top of the table, I don't think you'll come back down again. And Derby, I think we'll probably come, I said 15th before a ball was kicked. I still probably believe that. I think our home form's going to be brilliant, but I think we're going to struggle away. So I think probably 15th is probably about fair. And I'm sure every Derby fan will be very, very happy to stay up in the Championship. Cheers, Jimmy. Hope that was useful. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks to Jake for that. And to be honest, I'd put that together before the news came out about John, and he's got me out of a bind there. Because it's a tough one today. It's a tough one. And I always find them really interesting, those, getting the opposition's perspective, not only on their own team and letting us know how they're going to set up, where the strengths and weaknesses might be, but also what they think of Sheffield United. And I don't expect any of them to be experts in Sheffield United, because I certainly wouldn't be about their club. But just to get an overview of where they see the club. And we've seen a trend already of opposition fans coming on and saying, you might do okay. You might make the playoffs. Jake's now on to, you'll definitely make the playoffs. You might even make top two. So it's skewing already a little bit, which I think is really interesting. And it might just be different opinions. I understand that. But I'm going to get into some comments next, because I'm conscious that we'll have a few building up before we ask about your teams. Declan says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you're okay. And rest in peace, Johnny, up the blades. Johnny, once a blade, always a blade. Absolutely right. Hi, Jimmy, says Lucas. Hope you're doing well. Didn't get a chance to say last night, but I thought that was a wonderful tribute. Such a wonderful guy. He will never be forgotten. Thank you, Lucas. Evening, Jimmy, says, happy chappy. And evening, chat. Hope everyone's doing well. It's times like this that make me proud to be a Blade. Seeing all the love, support, and encouragement is truly a thing of beauty. Up the Blades. Absolutely. Well said, happy chappy. I know, we often sort of jab a little bit that you call yourself happy chappy and you're quite negative, but things like this brings everybody together, doesn't it? So thank you for your kind words there, but thank you to everybody that's reached out to me, but also showing their appreciation for each other. And I've had people that I haven't necessarily clicked with previously, or people that have maybe said a few things about me previously reach out as well. And it's brought, if there's ever any sort of silver lining, it's brought some people a little bit closer together. And football is the football community and the football family is just something, like I said at the beginning, people don't seem to understand if you're not if you're not a part of it, and everybody's welcome to be a part of it. It's just it's indescribable, really. So thank you to everybody that's sent me stuff and continues to support each other, because it really does mean a lot. Good evening, Jimmy says, Jack, hope you're keeping well, fellow. What you wanting to see from the team in terms of improvements? Also, rest in peace, Johnny. Didn't know him, but clearly is held dear to many. He is indeed. In terms of the team improvements, I think we're going. The trajectory is right. We're still not clicking into top gear, I don't think. I think it was harsh to leave Andre Brooks out. And in fact, while we're talking about it, let's just ask, what's your team? So Jack's asked us, what would I change? What would we change? What would any of us change? You let me know in the comments. But for me, this is my team, and this is what I'm going with. Same as I predicted, or same as I requested last time out, to be honest. No change from the starting lineup, other than I'm having Brooks in for Raksaki. So I think he's done enough to get a shirt. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them play. But at this point, the team's starting a little bit to pick itself. Now, you can say that's a good thing. You can say that's a bad thing. What do you think it is? Because we want that depth and that strength in depth and that competition for places. But if you look at this, we're going to be able to name 10 of the starting 11 pretty much straight away at the moment, can't we? So it's Mike Cooper in goal, a back four of Gilchrist, Harry Suter, and El Ahmed Hodzic, who got that fantastic reception after a terrible week for himself personally, with him falling out with his dad. Brilliant to see. Harrison Burrows at left back, who's getting better every game, I think. Souza and Blaster in the middle, who I thought didn't have the best of games, in all honesty, last time out. But I certainly won't be swapping Blaster for anybody in this league. So they will come good again. We know exactly what they can give to us. Brooks and Hamer are on opposite wings for me, with O'Hare in the 10 behind Moore. Would you do any differently to that? Let me know. Let me know, because I know some people would prefer Raksaki. So just let me know what you're thinking as well. Jamie says, evening, Jimmy. Won't be able to watch this till later, as I'll be on a plane back from Fuerteventura. Oh, you've had a good time, pal. The game is fully winnable, but Derby won't make it easy. We'll give Ozzy a warm welcome back too. I don't know if Ozzy's been getting in, you know. I know I've put him on thumbnail, but I'd have to double check, because I don't think he's been getting in. Whether that's injury related or what, I'm not sure. Evening, Jimmy, says Ian, and all you Ramblers. As usual, I'm optimistic and fancy a 3-0 Blades win. Brewster off the bench to get the third. Yeah, always optimistic, mate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Also, as I said on the group chat, fair play and well done to the tribute. You smashed it. Did a great service to Johnny, and can only hope his family, wish his family the best. Let's honour the win for him. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Shoreham View, like and subscribe. Well said, Jamie. Well done, pal. Evening, Jimmy. Ladies and gents, I reckon this is the game we get a huge scoring win. I think that's coming, Nige, at some stage. We haven't clicked, and I think we've got the ability to, certainly destroy someone, to be honest. Derby aren't good at all. I don't like tempting fate like that. So an optimistic 5-0. Mate. Hope you're well, buddy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. I'm hoping to see us more clinical in the final third, says Jack. Controlling the game and stop giving the ball away and causing ourselves problems. Same team, in my opinion. Not sure between Brooks and Raksaki. 3-0 more, Hamer and Raksaki. Hamer's always a good bet to score at minute, isn't he? Personally, I think it'll be a close game. I'm going for a 2-0 win. The only change I'd make is Brooks for Raksaki. Yeah, me too, pal. Me too. Would you to give someone a spanking? I think so too, Pixie, mate. I do. 5-0, up the Blades and up the Ramble. Would love it. Would love it. Can you imagine the feeling inside the ground? Evening, Jimmy. Would like to see Raksaki on the left, says Steve, and Brooksy on the right. Gus in the 10. The rest of the team unchanged. I know it means dropping O'Hare, but I don't want him burnt out. I'd like to deploy 2 wingers in Raksaki and Brooks, and Gus in a 10 means dropping Callum, but gives him a rest. That's might sound shocking on first reading, because O'Hare's clearly one of our better players, but I'm not sure he's hit the heights that that we would be hoping for consistently. Look, he's only 5 games in for us. No one's expecting him to come in and absolutely dominate the league. But I don't agree with Steve, but I can certainly see why he's raising that point. Evening Blade says, Dave the Nose. Hope we're all okay. We'll win on Saturday, I'm convinced. Brooks in for Raksaki, and I fancy us to win convincingly 4-0. Come on, Blades. We need something to smile about. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Look, is there a bit of a danger of us becoming a little bit Leeds United here in terms of not respecting Derby at all, and we're just going to walk all over them? Because I think they've won 3 of the 5 games, and we're on about 3-4-5-0. Just be careful. Be careful. Key, aka a bag. Evening Bladesmen and Ramblers. 3-0 Blades, Jimmy says, Danny Boy, can't see Derby doing any damage to us, especially with Warne in charge and Osborne in the squad. I don't mind Paul Warne. I don't mind him. Me personally, I'm going to guess 1-0 to us, obviously. We've only just broken our horrible record at home. So for this match against a decent Derby team, another squeaky 1-0. See, he's going for the opposite end of that optimism. Big thanks to Jake. Nicely balanced thoughts. Good luck after Saturday. Yes, thank you, Ian. Evening, Jimmy, up the Ramble. 4-1 Blades win. Top channel. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Rest in peace, Johnny Lad. Lived as a Blade, passed as a Blade, always a Blade. He is, mate. He sure is. Evening, Jimmy says, Danny, hope you're doing okay. Evening, Ramblers. Look forward to being back at the lane on Saturday. Hoping for 3 points and a clean sheet. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe for Johnny. In terms of clean sheet, we've got Michael Cooper in goal. The boy. Absolutely, it's going to be a clean sheet. Any takeover news? I can't believe this is still dragging. No, to be honest, I was going to try and get an update, but obviously other things took over. As soon as I know anything, I'll share what I'm able to. David had a Huddersfield fan message me asking to pass on their condolences to family and friends and all the fans. Rest in peace, Johnny. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. I'm calling it now. Moore's bagging a goal. Sad I can't make the games for the next month. No problem, Jack. People have all got their own reasons for why they can or can't go. Scott says, evening, Jimmy. I'm with you on that team. Brooks was fantastic after he came on Friday, so he starts for me. Rest is as is team wise. I think 2-0 again. Rest in peace, Johnny. Some lovely tributes seen up the Blades, up the Ramble. Ryan says this could be the toughest game of the season so far, but with the quality of our first 11 as strong as anyone in the division, you've got to fancy us up the Blades. I'd have said on paper Watford were probably our toughest game, but we dealt with that in quite reasonable fashion, didn't we? They didn't really lay a glove on us, to be honest. I do fancy us on Saturday. For everything, I'm trying to be wary. Agree the team is starting to pick itself without a doubt. Let's not forget we have some players who are proving they can step up. McCallum, Shackleton, even Brewster, and with Reece Norrington Davis to come back, says Ray. Absolutely right. The squad isn't quite as thin as some of us feared. I think the man Mountain made a really good point about the squad being quite versatile. Alfie Gilchrist, for example, can play right back or centre back. Andre Brooks can play anywhere across the midfield. Gus can obviously move inside as well. Harrison Burrows can play higher up. Shackleton can play higher up. So there's interchangeable parts. Even if we haven't got, say, 18 first team ready players, we might only need 14. So, yeah, all fair points. Derby won't roll over at all, says Scott. Will be tough, and they've not lost heavily yet, have they? I think lost 4-2 to Blackburn on the first game, but other than that, no. Our quality should definitely get us over the line, says Scott. And yes, bring Brooks into the side, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Evening, mate. Any news on the takeover? Can't believe this is dragging on. Sorry, Mark. I think you've repeated your comment from earlier, mate. As I said, I was going to chase an update this week, but other things have since happened, obviously. So I can't wait to see our midfield totally dominate, says Jack. Personally, I don't think Wilder will drop Raksaki. I don't know if he will either. To be fair, we'll wait and see. Not disrespecting Derby, more that I can just see us clicking into gear finally. Fair enough. Fair enough, Dave. Fair enough. I hope you're right, mate. Obviously, I hope you're right. Blades 2-1 against the Sheep on Saturday, says Lord Tullum. Should be a good atmosphere. Rest in peace, Johnny. Derby, sit back. Haven't we struggled to break teams down? It depends. It depends. I mean, Jake, we're telling us there that if Derby start to build a bit of confidence, they'll come out. Well, that'd suit us down to the ground. So we'll see. We'll see how the game plays out. I still like to see Campbell getting some minutes, and Brewster would be great to see both off the mark. Yeah, Campbell's another one, isn't he? Can play off the left, can play striker. So, yeah, I think Campbell, we might see a bit of Campbell at the weekend. Over 200 watching and 35 likes. Come on, hit the thumb for Johnny. Oh, up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, David. But okay, Jimmy says 2-0. Keep the clean sheet and midfield to boss it. Dave Nush, you know. Double Blade says, all right, Jim, currently watching you from the US of A, going 3-0, although I'm 5 hours behind you at the minute, but hoping to catch the game on Saturday before going to a Red Sox game. Nice, mate. Up the Blades. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Jack just finishes it off with us saying, I think Moore's going to have a great game. I don't know why, but I can feel it. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right. I'm going to call it a little bit early tonight. I know we normally go for half an hour, and I could go a little bit longer, to be honest. Just for me, I'm going 3-0 Blades, despite all my erring on the side of caution. But I just think it's a little bit too. I don't know. I'm not comfortable in predicting such a comfortable win for United, but we have got to click at some stage, and when we do, we're gonna hurt some teams. So thanks again for coming on tonight and seeing me through this. It's not been an easy one, I'll be honest, but after the game, we'll be full of adrenaline one way or the other. So we'll be back for 90 after 90. For everybody that's going to the game and wants to join us in Triple Point before, you're more than welcome. I'll see you there. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blade.